Who's there?
What?
Hi.
After a long night of fishing, two men finish packing up their gear and climb back into their car, exhausted and ready to head home. The forest around them is completely dark, illuminated only by the faint glow of their headlights. At first, everything feels normal, quiet, still, the kind of silence you expect deep in the woods after midnight, until suddenly, it isn't. A piercing screech cuts through the darkness without warning. It doesn't come from a single point in the forest. It seems to surround them, echoing between the trees as if the sound is moving. The noise is sharp, strained, and deeply unsettling, unlike anything either of them has heard before. It doesn't match the call of any animal they recognize, and it doesn't resemble machinery or distant human activity, either. Especially not at that hour, in such a remote place. For a moment, they sit frozen, listening as the sound fades and then resurfaces again, carried through the woods. The way it travels makes it impossible to pinpoint a source. The forest, which had been silent just moments before, now feels heavy and watchful. Instinct tells them not to get out of the car. Whatever is out there doesn't show itself. No movement, no shapes in the headlights, no explanation. To this day, neither of them knows what they heard that night. The sound was never identified, and nothing else revealed itself from the trees. Whatever made that screech remained hidden, beyond the reach of light and reason, leaving behind only questions and the lingering, uncomfortable feeling that they weren't alone out there when the forest screamed back. And that takes us to this next video that comes from the YouTube channel Tim Morozov, a creator known for documenting places tied to the unexplained. In this particular video, Tim returns to a location that has haunted him for years, an abandoned estate often referred to as the Von Meck Castle. According to Tim, this was one of the first places where he ever encountered what he describes as true mysticism. A place that didn't just scare him, but left a lasting impression, something closer to a personal connection. He explains that when he first visited this estate years ago, he believed he encountered not only paranormal activity, but something far more disturbing. Tim claims that during that earlier visit, his cameras captured what he describes as a living monster watching him from a distance. Whatever it was, it never attacked him. And that unanswered encounter is one of the reasons he's never been able to forget this place. Now, after years of postponement, Tim has returned. From the moment he arrives, the estate feels different, more overgrown, more decayed. The building itself looks unstable, its walls crumbling, the surrounding ground swallowed by thick vegetation. Tim admits that what once filled him with fascination now fills him with dread. Standing in front of the structure, he feels an overwhelming urge to leave, as if the building itself is warning him. Despite that feeling, he begins setting up his investigation. Tim introduces several pieces of equipment designed to detect and amplify paranormal activity, and as soon as the night has fallen, he places the devices near the entrance, an area where he claims the monster was once filmed, and positions cameras to record any activity while he moves deeper into the estate. Not long after, things begin to shift.
Надеюсь, я услышу отсюда прибор, если он сработает. И если меня кто-нибудь слышит, дайте знак или ответьте мне.
Tim acknowledges that skeptics might assume it's an animal, but he insists the device only responds to paranormal energy. He repositions the equipment, convinced that something has entered the building, and it seems he was right as the activity escalated.
Сюда кто-то идет. Кто здесь?
For a brief moment, Tim becomes genuinely concerned that another person may have entered the castle. But as he checks the area, that explanation quickly falls apart. The estate is far too remote, cut off from any nearby roads or paths, and there are no signs of anyone else inside. No presence he can physically confirm. With that realization, Tim is left with only one conclusion. Whatever is moving through the castle isn't human at all, but something unseen that has been haunting this place long before he returned.
Снова что-то отбросило мою камеру.
At one point, he says the situation feels eerily familiar, just like before, as if something entered the building, observed him, and then withdrew. He admits he hasn't captured clear footage of the entity, but the sensation is unmistakable. Whatever it is, it's aware of him. As the night deepens, Tim expands the setup, placing cameras on multiple floors, including the basement, and positioning a thermal camera toward the entrance. To do so, he's forced to climb unstable beams and navigate unsafe sections of the structure, something he openly admits is dangerous.
Снова на этом месте сигнал. Сейчас он не прекращается.
Without Tim noticing it at the moment, one of his cameras did actually capture something strange. But at the time, he was still deep inside the castle, unaware of what had already been recorded. As the hours pass, Tim continues exploring until the sky outside begins to lighten. Morning approaches. The activity slows. Nothing dramatic happens in those final moments. No confrontation, no clear reveal. And by the time he leaves the castle, it feels as though whatever was inside has simply withdrawn. It isn't until Tim is back home, safe, removed from the fear and adrenaline of the night, that he finally sees what he missed. That mist-like figure moving through part of the castle. A presence that was there the entire time, captured quietly while Tim was focused elsewhere. The realization changes everything. The investigation doesn't end at the gates of the Von Meck estate. It follows him home, lingering in the footage he thought he had already seen. Whatever inhabits that castle didn't reveal itself fully, but it left proof behind. And sometimes it's what you don't notice in the moment, what only reveals itself later, that stays with you the longest. But in places like this, the unexplained are not always the most dangerous thing in the woods. That will become undeniably clear in this next footage that was shared by Black Mass Paranormal, a US-based channel known for solo investigations into unexplained encounters, often deep within the Appalachian region. On August 4th, 2025, during one of these solo expeditions, the investigator hikes deep along the Appalachian Trail, searching for signs of unusual activity, including the possibility of feral people living far from society.
We are going to go up to higher ground and see if we can see something. That print, to me, is pretty interesting because this is it's a pretty rough terrain area. Now there are, in my opinion, Bigfoot in this area. However, we are not going to concentrate on said Bigfoot. Something came sliding down this hill.
While moving through muddy terrain, he notices something unsettling. A small, barefoot footprint pressed into the ground. It looks almost childlike, completely out of place in such a remote area. The discovery suggests recent human presence, someone moving silently through the woods without shoes. But the real danger isn't human.
Now we gotta get across this ledge here. See what I mean? This isn't the most... Oh, that's a rattlesnake. God damn. Whoa. Hi. Gotta be careful here. Alright, buddy. So, see, what's important is you stay calm.
He suddenly came face to face with an eastern diamondback rattlesnake, one of the most venomous and dangerous snakes in North America. The snake was coiled and alert, close enough that a single wrong move could have ended the encounter in seconds. There was no time to panic, no room for mistakes. Relying purely on instinct and years of outdoor experience, he froze, then began to slowly back away. Every step was deliberate. No sudden movements, no attempt to scare it off. He understood that provoking the snake, even unintentionally, could trigger a strike he wouldn't survive in such a remote location. The rattlesnake didn't pursue him. It remained mostly still, appearing sluggish, likely because it had recently eaten. That single detail may have made all the difference. In the wild, survival often comes down to circumstances you don't even realize are working in your favor. Once he had created enough distance, he retreated completely, leaving the area without further incident. It was a stark reminder that the greatest dangers in the wilderness aren't always the ones you're searching for. Sometimes, the real threat is right beneath your feet, silent, unseen, and only revealed when it's almost too late. With that being said, we head straight into this next clip that shows two friends, Zach and Aaron, camping deep in a wooded area long associated with an old and unsettling legend, the Banshee. In Irish folklore, the Banshee is believed to be a female spirit tied to specific regions and bloodlines. She's not known to attack or harm people directly. Instead, she's said to warn of death, her presence announced through piercing wails, cries, or whispered words carried on the wind. Descriptions of her vary. Sometimes she's depicted as an old woman, sometimes young, but her voice is always the most feared part. A sound so human, it feels wrong, echoing through otherwise silent land. That night, Zach and Aaron were sitting by their campsite, casually talking about life, completely relaxed. The forest around them was still. No wind, no insects, no movement, just quiet. Then, out of nowhere, a sound cut through the darkness.
It's not a job anymore, it's a way of life. So let's just keep trucking with life, man, because there's nothing we can do about it.
What?
So let's just keep trucking with life, man, because there's nothing we can do about it.
What?
It didn't resemble an animal call. It wasn't a scream exactly, more like a woman's voice, which sounded like the word no. What made it worse was how close it seemed. Not distant, not echoing far away, but nearby, just beyond the reach of their headlamps. The two immediately went silent, scanning the trees, the darkness swallowing the light just a few feet beyond their camp. They called out. Nothing answered. No footsteps. No movement. No figure stepping into view. Both of them believed they might have just heard the banshee, the very spirit the woods were rumored to be haunted by. The sound fit the legend too well. Human-like, emotional, completely out of place. Of course, there could be other explanations. Some animals are known to produce cries that sound eerily human under the right conditions. Wind can distort sound in unsettling ways. And fear has a way of sharpening imagination when you're alone in the dark. But the silence that followed, the way the forest seemed to hold its breath, is what stayed with them. So what do you think they heard that night? A natural sound mistaken for something supernatural? Or did Zach and Aaron unknowingly wander into a place where the legend still lingers? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And while you're doing that, we are going to take a look at. This next clip was shared on TikTok by user alex.betterman. And on the surface, it looks like nothing more than a group of friends enjoying a routine hike together. They had made it a habit to meet up once a month, choosing a new trail each time as a way to reconnect, unwind, and enjoy the outdoors. That day was no different. The mood was light. They laughed, chatted, and stopped along the trail to take photos and selfies, the kind of moment that feels harmless and ordinary. But that atmosphere changed in an instant. As they paused to capture a few pictures, one of the friends noticed movement in the trees nearby. A man was emerging from the woods, slowly stepping onto the trail. What immediately stood out wasn't just his presence. It was how out of place he looked. He wasn't wearing hiking gear. No backpack. No trail shoes. Just everyday clothing, mismatched for the terrain, as if he hadn't planned on being there at all. According to the group, the man appeared disoriented. His movements were unsteady, his behavior difficult to read. And in that moment, laughter gave way to instinct. The kind that tells you something isn't right, even if you can't fully explain why. The group quickly shifted their focus. They stopped filming casually and began quietly talking among themselves, assessing the situation. Memories of past incidents, stories they'd heard, warnings they'd seen online, came rushing back. They reminded each other to stay together, to stay aware, to get back to their car without panicking. As they made their way down the trail, the fear wasn't loud. It was controlled. They didn't run. They didn't confront him. But the unease followed them. At several points, they believed they might be being watched or followed. They didn't stop to confirm it. Instead, they stuck close, kept moving, and focused on one thing only: reaching safety. Eventually, they made it back to their vehicle and left the area without further incident. No confrontation, no clear explanation for who the man was or why he was there. Just the lingering realization that a situation can turn uncomfortable, even dangerous, far faster than expected. Later, reflecting on the experience, the group shared the clip as a reminder that even during something as peaceful as a hike, awareness matters, that nature isn't always empty, and that sometimes the most unsettling encounters aren't dramatic. They're quiet moments where instinct tells you to leave, and you listen. So what do you think? A harmless coincidence? Someone lost and confused? Or a situation that could have turned into something far worse if they hadn't trusted their instincts? With that question lingering, we dive into this unsettling video from Den Fisken, a Swedish TikTok creator known for documenting his work in the forestry industry. Most of his content shows routine logging operations, heavy machinery, long nights, and the quiet isolation that comes with working deep in the woods. But this night was different. On January 23, 2024, Den Fisken headed out alone into a remote forest after dark. The area was silent, unnaturally so, as he prepared to start his chainsaw and begin what should have been ordinary work. There was no wind, no wildlife sounds, just stillness. That silence is suddenly broken by a chilling sound echoing through the trees. The noise is sharp and close enough to stop him cold. After the video was shared, speculation spread quickly. Some viewers suggested it could have been a timber wolf, a real and dangerous presence in parts of Sweden. Others believed the sound didn't match any known animal, instead pointing to folklore, mentioning wendigos or skinwalkers. No explanation was ever confirmed, and Den Fisken never followed up with further details. Whatever made that sound remained unseen, leaving the encounter unresolved. Now, his next situation didn't involve strange sounds or unseen creatures, just the dangerous assumption that being alone means being safe. Alex's channel usually focuses on exploring abandoned places filled with history, often traveling there by bike and inviting viewers along for the journey. This time, however, the trip unfolds differently. He sets out toward Yazoo, New Mexico, a near-forgotten town with decaying buildings, old storefronts, and little remaining life. Instead of biking, Alex takes his van and even considers staying overnight, though that decision quickly becomes questionable.
Starting to get dark. It's not totally dark yet. A lot of debris. So we're here, but it's dark inside here, that's for sure. So we're gonna explore it, see what it looks like, see if we detect anything. So this is the big room here. A lot of debris, furniture, that sort of thing.
The town feels empty, but uneasy. Nothing overtly threatening happens, yet the atmosphere feels heavy, as if the place doesn't want visitors lingering for long. After exploring the area, Alex decides it's safer to head back to his van parked nearby. But the night isn't over.
Something woke me up. I heard, I think, sounded like footsteps. I'm not sure if that's what woke me up. I put on my pants and my shoes, just for in case. I was asleep. I got all my windows closed. I got this light here, but I don't know if they can see it. But I suddenly heard footsteps. Something woke me up. I'm not sure what it was.
Back at the van, Alex walks viewers through his setup, still hoping that the strange sounds he heard were nothing more than imagination. Against his better judgment, he settles in for the night. But that's when the real tension begins.
Just so you know, I'm armed. I'm opening the door. Who's there?
I don't see anybody.
Anybody there?
Nobody out here.
Hello?
Maybe they went inside that schoolhouse. Okay. It's time for me to go. The sound was coming from this side, from the driver's side.
Sounds outside the van suggest someone may be nearby, but when Alex checks, there's no one there. The most likely explanation is that someone noticed the van, assumed it was empty, and tried their luck, only to flee once they realized someone was inside. Whether it was an attempted theft or a deliberate scare, Alex doesn't stay to find out. Armed but cautious, he chooses the smartest option, leaving the area without confrontation. But not everyone packs up when something feels off. Work Less, Enjoy Life is a channel run by Larry, an outdoor enthusiast who documents slow living and quiet escapes into nature, often accompanied by his 2 dogs, Mason and Marty. His videos usually focus on peace, solitude, and the simple rhythm of life outdoors. On October 16, 2024, Larry set up camp deep in a remote mountain forest south of Flagstaff, Arizona, within an area still recovering from an old wildfire. The landscape was open but scarred, with regrowth slowly reclaiming the burned ground. During the day, everything felt calm, isolated, quiet, and safe. But once night fell, that sense of safety began to fade. After grilling a steak over the fire, Larry stepped into his camper to eat. Only a few bites in, a loud, sharp bang ripped through the forest. It was sudden and jarring, the kind of sound that immediately demands attention. It didn't echo like distant gunfire, nor did it sound like a normal branch snapping under wind or wildlife. The silence that followed made it even worse.
There's been times where I'm out here, or not out here, but in the woods, and you just hear something you can't explain, and I don't know, it just gets your anxiety all worked up. It's starting to get cold. I had to switch into my sweatshirt. Fire feels good though. I catch myself just sitting here listening. Part of me just wants it to be a cow or a coyote or something. Like I just want to see something that I could know that it was it, just so I can just drop it. Like I'm trying to sit up. The dogs are fighting.
Larry tried to steady himself, listening closely. His instincts told him something wasn't right. When the strange noises returned, he made a decision that many wouldn't. Instead of locking himself inside, he stepped back out to investigate. Not out of curiosity, but out of necessity. In the wilderness, uncertainty can be more dangerous than a known threat.
Everybody. Hi.
Now, Mason and Marty reacted too. Both dogs sprang to their feet, barking aggressively into the darkness, not playfully, not confused, but focused, alert. Larry called out a calm greeting, hoping someone might answer and confirm it was just another camper nearby. No voice came back. Instead, the same unsettling clapping sound echoed once more from beyond the trees. Larry swept his flashlight across the forest. The beam caught trunks, brush, and empty space. Nothing moving, nothing visible. Just darkness pressing back in from all sides. Alone, miles from anyone else. With his dogs on edge and no explanation for what he was hearing, the weight of the situation fully set in. Could it have been another camper wandering nearby? An animal behaving in an unfamiliar way? Or something else entirely, hidden just beyond the reach of the light? Larry never got a clear answer. And sometimes, that's the part that lingers the longest, not knowing whether the woods were truly empty that night, or whether something was there the entire time, choosing not to be seen. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.